Welcome back to Big Nick's Meats and Treats. We've been gone for a few weeks. We have a really special recipe for you today. We're going to make old-fashioned molasses cookies. This recipe comes from my father-in-law. He was a longtime baker and worked at a candy shop, and these are really good. They're a family favorite. I usually make about 5 dozen of these before we go deer hunting, and they usually last about 48 hours. So I got a special guest star today helping me out, and it's my granddaughter Kylie. Come on in.
Hi.
This is my granddaughter Kylie. She's going to help make molasses cookies because they're one of her favorites. So you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Kylie. I'm 11 years old.
Very good. So let's start with the recipe. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our mixing bowl, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to mix in 1 cup of sugar. So go ahead and pour that in there. We already did our mise en place ahead of time. What's mise en place mean?
Organized?
Everything in its place, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
Now, 3/4 of a cup of shortening. So I'll use the little spatula thing to help you get it out of there.
Ew, I touched it.
Okay, that's good. Let's go ahead and set that down. Okay, I'll put 1 egg in. Okay, 1 egg goes in there.
1/4 cup of molasses.
Well, we got to read here. So sugar, shortening, egg, and molasses. Okay, so put the molasses in there. You can use this little spatula. So this molasses is 1/4 cup of dark molasses.
So slow.
Yeah, it is slow. That's why there's a saying that says slow as molasses. Okay, I think that looks...
Yeah.
You're right, I'm going to get the last little bit of it out for you. Okay. There we go. Good. Okay, now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to put this on the mixer. I'm going to use the paddle because this dough gets real gooey. So we're going to mix this up and mix this well, and then we'll add the dry ingredients. So we'll see you in a minute.
Excuse me.
All right, so we mixed the molasses, the sugar, the egg, and the shortening together. Got that mixed really well. Now we need to sift the dry ingredients. We're going to sift 2 cups of flour. We're just using a, I guess it's not really a hand sifter, but it'll work for a sifter. So we're going to sift that in there.
Can I do it?
Yep, absolutely. 2 cups of flour. Nice. Try to keep it in the bowl. 2 teaspoons of baking soda. Okay.
No. Baking soda rocks.
Half a teaspoon of cloves. Okay. Half a teaspoon of ginger. 1 full teaspoon of cinnamon. And salt is a half a teaspoon. So we get all that sifted together. Okay, that's good. Now we'll mix that up a little bit. And then we're going to pour the dry ingredients into the wet ingredients. Okay, we got all our dry ingredients sifted and mixed together. Now we're going to mix it with the wet dough. Just like we do with any baking there. Make sure that your mixer's on real low, and she's just going to spoon it in there so we don't end up with a big old flour storm in the kitchen. Yeah, nice and slow, that's good. Okay, keep spooning that in there.
No flour storm.
Alright, we'll finish that and we'll get back to you in just a minute.
So the dough is pretty thick after you mix it all, and that's good. That's the way it should be, and it smells really good.
The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to take the mixing bowl, cover it with some saran wrap, and I'm going to put it in the refrigerator and let it chill for about 2 hours. Okay, we'll see you in a couple hours.
Bye.
So it's been a couple hours, the dough's been refrigerated. So we're gonna end up rolling the dough into balls about about 1 inch in diameter. And then I'm gonna take them and I'm gonna roll them in a little bit of sugar all the way around. And then put them on a baking sheet with parchment paper and just real lightly tap them down with a glass, and then we'll cover the whole cookie sheet with those. Give them about at least 2 inches of spacing, and we're going to put them in a 375-degree oven. The recipe says 8 to 10 minutes. I found that 9.5 is the perfect on our oven, so you might have to mess around with it and just see how your oven works with it. Okay, we'll see you in a minute.
I'm going to be rolling some of the dough.
Okay, good. You're going to want about 1 inch diameter or so. Get a little bit more. Get a little bit more. Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. Okay, roll that into the sugar. Did we get everything incorporated?
Nicholas.
She loves it when I say incorporated. That's her favorite word.
I hate it.
Just roll it around in there. Okay, that's good. Now put it on the cookie sheet about 2 inches apart. There you go. And just lightly tap it with the glass. Lightly tap
Sugar fingers.
real lightly. That's perfect. Okay, good. Now we'll cover the rest of the cookie sheet and we'll let you know when we're ready to put them in the oven.
So we're now going to be putting the dough in a 375-degree oven for about 9.5 minutes. And fun fact, I used to go up to my grandma and bring her oven mitts and make her do a puppet show for me.
Okay, here we go. 9.5 minutes. In they go. All right, see you in 9.5 minutes.
Bye!
Right, time's up. Let's pull them out of the oven, see how they look.
Oh, they look delicious.
Okay, so
They smell good too.
with these cookies, you want to let them sit on the cookie sheet for a couple of minutes before you put them on a cooling rack because they're going to seem real flimsy. So when I do take them off the cookie sheet and put them on a cooling rack, I use a fish spatula because they're going to be a little bit flimsy and a little hard to manage if you don't have a real good spatula. The recipe that we did today makes about 2 dozen cookies. We got 23 out of it. This last batch, instead of rolling them in regular sugar before we put them on the cookie sheet, we rolled them in turbinado sugar. What's turbinado sugar?
It's raw cane sugar.
Yeah, and it gives it that extra crunch, and it's got a real nice sweet flavor, and it gives it just that extra crispy bite on the cookie. So we're going to see how those turn out.
Also, the sugar is also known as sugar in the raw sugar.
All right, it's time for us to enjoy the fruits of our labor. We're each going to have 1 cookie with regular sugar and 1 cookie with turbinado sugar. Let's try it out and see how they taste.
Okay, which one do you want to do first?
Let's do turbinado first.
Okay.
Let's get the crunchy sugar.
That's ridiculous.
That's real good. I like that crunchy sugar on there. Isn't that good?
Mm-hmm. It gives it more of a texture.
I really like that. You just want to say texture.
No, again.
Okay, let's try the other one. Those are so good.
I still have the other one in my mouth.
Crunchy on the outside, chewy on the inside. So good.
Mm-hmm.
I think I like the turbinado sugar. What do you think? Let's tell the folks what we're going to do until next time they say it. You ready? Until we see you again. Watch me work, baby. Watch me work.